They laughed. They dismissed. They walked past you like you were furniture in their mental hallway, useful only when needed, ignored when inconvenient. But inside you, something was building, quietly, invisibly, like the tightening of a bowstring held for years. People don't fear what they don't notice, but they should, because what they ignore learns. It watches, it sharpens, it waits. You weren't weak, you were just unseen. And now they feel a strange discomfort in their gut when your name is mentioned. They can't explain why, but they look twice. They don't know what changed. You do. They didn't see the loneliness that turned into focus. They didn't see the rejection that hardened into purpose. They didn't see the years you spent in silence, building an armor of patience around a spine of steel. They see you now, but it's too late to greet you, because you didn't return as the version they left behind. You evolved. This is the curse and the power of being underestimated. Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote, "The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. You didn't struggle to fit in. You disappeared to rebuild, and now you've become what they can't categorize, can't manipulate, can't diminish. That unsettles them, because people don't actually fear your success. They fear that your success reveals their laziness. They don't fear your discipline. They fear that it mirrors their excuses. So now they whisper, they stare, they speculate. They don't realize you don't care. They think you came back to prove something. But this isn't a revenge story. It's a rebirth. And that scares them more than any vengeance ever could. Because when someone transforms in silence, they emerge speaking a language the old world can't understand. They see your presence, but they've lost access to your essence. And in a world obsessed with attention, nothing is more powerful than being noticed without needing to explain. Now you walk by, and they shift nervously, not because you say anything, but because this time they're afraid you might. There's a strange moment that happens when power returns in silence. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't beg to be seen. It simply is. And when people realize what they've ignored has grown teeth, it's too late to cage it. You don't need their validation anymore. You outgrew the currency of approval. They speak your name more now, but with caution, because they don't know your next move. And that terrifies them, not because you've become dangerous, but because you've become unpredictable. The man they once mocked for being too quiet, too soft, too slow, now walks like someone who's carrying lightning beneath his calm. What changed? Not the world, not them, you. The curse of awareness is that once you see how fragile their perception of you was, you can never play small again. You realize they never truly knew you, only the version of you that was convenient to ignore. And that version died the day you stopped waiting to be chosen. You didn't ask for a seat at the table. You built your own. And now they pretend they always saw it coming, but deep down they know they missed it. They missed you, the real you, and the cost of that blindness. Respect, because what people fear more than failure is irrelevance. And you, in your quiet evolution, became something they can no longer predict, and therefore must respect. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them know you as you are." They never knew you, and now they don't know how to reach you. So they try to pull you back with nostalgia, guilt, fake familiarity. But it doesn't work, because the man who rose from the ashes doesn't carry the same skin as the one who burned. You didn't return for revenge. You returned to remember who you are, and that memory is louder than all their noise combined. You used to shrink to fit in. You dulled your fire to avoid burning others. You lowered your voice, softened your truth, disguised your strength, all to make others comfortable. And still, they didn't choose you. They didn't see you. They didn't respect you. That's the paradox of appeasement. The more you offer pieces of yourself to be accepted, the less of you remains to be respected. But now you've reversed the spell. You're no longer the man asking for understanding. You are the standard. You're no longer in rooms trying to prove your worth. You are the room. You no longer chase visibility, because mystery became your armor. And when they ask, what happened to him? The truth is, you happened to yourself. You stopped offering explanations for your evolution. You stopped asking for permission to exist. You stopped shrinking, and when you did, their comfort shrank instead. Because a man who stands in his truth disrupts those who live by illusion. You didn't become cold. You became clear. You didn't become arrogant. You became untouchable. You didn't become arrogant. You became untouchable. As Arthur Schopenhauer once wrote, solitude is the fate of all great spirits. And when you break free, the tribe feels threatened, because you remind them of what they abandoned in themselves. Your silence is now power. Your absence speaks louder than your presence ever did. And the greatest fear they hold? That you're no longer trying to be understood, because now you're not here to be liked. You're here to be undeniable. They used to smirk when you walked in. Now they whisper when you leave, because you did what most never dare. You turned silence into strategy, absence into power. They thought ignoring you was control, but they forgot something. In the shadows, things grow differently, unwatched, unafraid, unbound. The more they dismissed you, the more you learned how to navigate without applause, how to breathe without validation, how to sharpen yourself in silence, like a blade honed in darkness. And now, that blade shines, not for their approval, but as a warning. You didn't come back louder. You came back cleaner, sharper, stripped of the need to explain. You are no longer accessible, no longer available for their projection. And that's what scares them most. Not your power, but your indifference. Because now, you're not fighting to be seen. You're choosing to disappear. You've become a myth in their minds, a presence they can no longer touch, but always feel. A question mark they can't erase. They stare at your silence now, trying to decipher what you've become. But here's the truth. You didn't become anything. You just stopped trying to be everything. As Pascal once said, all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. But you did, and it didn't break you. It built you. Now the ones who laughed look over their shoulders. The ones who doubted mimic your path, because power no longer means being the loudest. It means being unmoved, untouchable. And as they wonder how you did it, you've already moved on, further, deeper, into the quiet where gods are forged, and you no longer seek revenge. You embody it. Final question for the audience. What's more terrifying? The man who shouts for recognition, or the one who disappears and lets the silence haunt?